Good morning. Good morning. Goodness me, what a palaver I've had getting onto StreamYard this morning. Do you ever do something and then it causes you no end of problems? I went and cleared my cookies and reset my browser because my computer was slowing up a bit. So I regularly do that. And then I forgot that it signs you out of everything and you've got to sign back in everything. And when you sign out of StreamYard, it clears everything you've done. And you have to start again. So anyway, that's what I've been doing for the last 3 minutes is logging back in, rewriting everything and getting myself back in position to do this live. Good morning. Somebody's dropped on, so it must be live now. How are you today? How are you? It's absolutely bucketing down today. And we've just spent the last hour with the dog trainer, getting Buzz integrated into the house today. He's been upstairs, so we're making progress. Anyway, how's it in your world? Is it raining where you are? Hi, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Tired, but okay. I know that feeling. Tired every day at the minute. Just recovering from the 5-day challenge. So one of the things that I work on quite deeply with you, wet, wet, wet. I feel it in my fingers, yeah. Deeply in the creative mastermind and the ultimate mastermind is your mindset. And limiting beliefs is a huge thing that we carry the weight of with us through life. Wet dogs, we are being battered. I always say everybody's got the same weather then. It's a stay in day, isn't it? It's let the dogs in the garden for a wee day. They had a lovely long walk this morning though. Anyway, back on track, Mandy. Stop reading the comments. I'll come back to you. So limiting beliefs. I look at limiting beliefs like an unwanted inheritance, something that's handed down to you, possibly generationally, highly likely from teachers and authority figures that we've had in our lives, and certainly from our peers, friendship groups, and they can be very subtle. But when a limiting belief takes hold of you, it can last a lifetime. And I'm going to give you a live example of how long that can go on. So what is a limiting belief? It's something that we've told ourselves is true. We've made it our truth. We've actually had something repeated to us so often that it becomes true. So, for instance, let's give you an example of limiting beliefs. Sorry, I didn't even introduce myself to the other platforms in case you're watching from elsewhere. And I always do that. How rude of me. Good morning. I'm Mandy Nicholson, like the branding says, and I'm the Creative Genius Consultant, an artist, an author, a creative retreat owner, although you wouldn't want to be on one today, in Scotland. And I help creative women launch, grow, and scale their businesses and make more money. And mindset and limiting beliefs always show up when anybody joins my creative mastermind. So yeah, this limiting belief, this inheritance that you have. So I'm going to give you an example of it. For instance, imagine that right from a very young age, you've heard from perhaps a parent that they were not very good at maths. They're rubbish at maths. You're a creative, you're rubbish at maths. You're not very good at maths. So you go to school and maths is already scary for you as a subject because one of your parents has struggled with it and is not good at it. And they verbalize that to you. And then in maths, in a maths lesson, you're asked a question and you get it wrong and you feel humiliated in front of the whole classroom. That's the second thing that reinforces this belief. One of your parents is not good. You've heard them talking about it. You've had an incident in a lesson where you've been humiliated because you've given a wrong answer. From there on in, you look for clues and incidents that reinforce that belief because it's already started to ingrain itself into your very young moldable brain. And for me, parents unwillingly and unwittingly can do so much damage by passing on their own limiting beliefs to you. So it could be a fear of dogs. one of your parents is really scared of dogs, therefore you end up scared of dogs. And all of the, a dog bites somebody, that reinforces, sorry, that's my doorbell, always when you're on a live. Everything that happens then reinforces that fear of dogs or fear of spiders. You see your mum running out of the room screaming because there's a spider. Guess what? You're going to be scared of spiders. That's what's going to happen. So that's why I look at it as an inheritance, because it very rarely comes from nowhere. It always comes from somewhere. I don't know about you, but I had a really huge incident at school. And I think there's always two reactions to big incidents. When I moved to high school, from middle school, which is what the system was then, I was accidentally put into the learning difficulties. They called it D block. What a name for it, D block, dunce block, D block. They accidentally got mine and my sister's records mixed up because we were both A King, Amanda and Angela, and they put me in D block. I was first to high school. And I was really upset because they were telling me I had learning difficulties and I was stupid. That's what the teacher said to me. And I knew I wasn't. I knew that I wasn't. And it really, really upset me. So I was crying in D block. And when I went back when they realized they'd made a mistake and I went back to the classroom, my eyes were all red and puffy and everybody was picking on me for crying in D block and calling me dunce. For me, that triggered a huge lifetime reaction of working really, really hard to prove them wrong. But that could have sat with me, but it also moved me into a place of protecting my little sister because I didn't want her ever feeling like that. And I helped her so much through school because I didn't want her to feel like that. That was a horrible feeling. But what happened was I was really clever and really good and was sticking my finger up to school saying, told you so. And she had to follow me at school and she wasn't as bright as me. So what happened was she had a limiting belief and she still has that limiting belief. And she's 50, how old am I? She's 55-ish, 56. And she still has that limiting belief that she has low self-worth and that she's not as good as me. And I'm the clever one and I'm this, and she's the black sheep and it's gone with her through life. And every time she's got something wrong and I've got something right, it's reinforced that limiting belief for her. This is how big they can be for you. Huge. And that's why I'm using this as a life example. So when I bought my dream home for cash and then sold it and moved to Scotland, she followed me. She moved up here. She's got a little 2-bedroom cottage down the street that she pays rent on, and I own this massive 7-bedroom building. So guess what? Even though she's followed me and she loves me and she looks up to me, they're still reinforcing every time I do something really successful. It's reinforcing her limiting beliefs. And I don't do that purposefully. I just do life. But for her, she's watching and feeling that, and it holds her back. And it frustrates me because I'd like to be able to change things for her, but that's not my responsibility, it's hers. But that's how deep limiting beliefs can go, unknowingly impacting you in all areas of your life. They're huge. So what you've got to do with limiting beliefs, you've got to become a bit of a detective. So you've got to look for evidence to the contrary. That's how I always describe it. So you become Detective, let's see who we've got, Detective Smith on here, who is going to look for evidence to the contrary. So say you've got a fear of spiders, and it means that, my daughter's got a fear of moths and she can't go in the garage in case there's a moth, because that's where the moths will be. And I've never seen a moth in that garage. So evidence to the contrary is I've been here for 2.5 years and I've never encountered a moth yet in the garage. So that's evidence to prove that actually there's not going to be a huge moth in the corner waiting to attack my daughter. So you've got to start looking for evidence to the contrary. So maybe if you were not good at maths at school, Evidence to the contrary is that you could sign up for some tutoring now to see how you get on and discover that maths actually isn't that difficult. You can start to chip away. Because a parent wasn't good at something doesn't mean that you are not going to be good at something. Because somebody has called you stupid once or you got one question wrong, does that mean that you're wrong all of the time? We all make mistakes. We all get questions wrong. That can be coming from a lack of confidence because you genuinely believe you don't know the answer. So therefore you don't know the answer. And it's not that you don't know the answer. Have you ever watched a quiz and you know the answer to something and you just can't quite pluck it out? Then they say it and you're like, oh God, I knew that. Of course you knew that. It was in there. It just, for some of us, needs a little bit longer to process and for us to access the files that are in our head to find the right answer or solution to things. We're not all as fast as other people. Some people that have left brains that process sort of those things like maths and science really, really well are very quick because they are focused on that and they don't get bogged down with shiny object syndrome and a million ideas a day like we creatives do. The two brains are very, very different. And the creative brain, because it's so creative and because you're being pulled in lots of directions with ideas and shiny objects, then sometimes finding the information in the files can be quite difficult. It's like being in an office and trying to find a file from 12 years ago that you know is there, but you just can't find it. So that's what limiting beliefs are like. You've got to be a detective and look for evidence to the contrary. So if you are struggling with your self-worth and you think you're not worthy, what's the evidence to the contrary on that? You go out and look, ask your friends and family what they think of you. Ask them for some feedback, and that might be, oh, I can't do that. But people will normally say, well, you're wonderful. I love you. You're good at this and you're good at that. Listen. And I do that with my sister a lot, but she doesn't listen because she's got this limiting belief. Just read this. I've got a comment on here. My sister struggles with her mental health, and sometimes I hold back from celebrating my wins with her. But I also feel like I'm her mum sometimes and not her younger sister. So she's gifted spiritually, but struggles with noise and crowds, which impacts her life massively. Sounds like she's on the spectrum. I try and be there for her as much as I can, but I can't walk this path for her either. So true. So true. And actually, I feel like my sister's mum. So I get that more than you know. My sister struggles with mental health and she has a whole life, and it is because of these limiting beliefs. And I've held back as well. Yeah, I've held back some of my successes because I don't want her to feel, oh, here she goes again. She's done something else great and I'm going to look like this. So I don't celebrate them and I don't tell people. I just crack on with life. Yeah, it's hard when your close circle is toxic. It really is hard when your close circle is toxic, when nobody's lifting you up, when nobody's feeding you positives. So what you've got to do is put boundaries in place and distance yourself, because if you're going to heal yourself, and that's the key to this, is limiting beliefs is about recognizing what is holding you back, enabling yourself to heal from that, looking for evidence to the contrary, and finding people who are going to lift you up and highlight the things that you're great at. So like, I'm not a proper artist, but I've created well over 200 commissions, LOL. Yeah, you are a proper artist then. If you're painting and doing commissions, you're a proper artist. Where do you get the title proper artist? When is it given to you? I've done a degree in art and design. I've also done a degree in psychology. I'm neither a psychologist nor, well, I am an artist, but for 30 years, I worked in retail. So, people might say, how do you call yourself an artist now? Because I am. I paint, therefore I am. So I am. You don't need a degree. You don't need a qualification. There's coaches out there with no qualifications offering coaching. Oh, what am I going to say about that? Become your own cheerleader. Yeah, do you know what? one of the exercises I do here when you come to a retreat on the Art Bank is I stand people in front of a huge mirror that I've got in my hallway, and I ask them to tell themselves that they love themselves and to pick out at least 5 things that they really love about themselves. Now, that exercise in itself has caused tears and tantrums, and some people can't do it because their perception of self is so low. And that breaks my heart, but it's an actual fact. And these are women that are functioning in society, and some of them are doing well. But underneath lies these limiting beliefs of, I'm not good enough, I'm not this. Yeah, because you have a certificate was how I was always saw it. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I've got a certificate saying I've got a psychology degree. Does not make me a psychologist because I did not choose that path. I'm an entrepreneur. You don't get a certificate for being an entrepreneur and making money, yet you can be one and you can make lots of money. Alan Sugar has no certificates. Anne says, I feel quite unbalanced in things I've been able to achieve, successful in many areas, but with huge effort, and give up easily because I find stuff boring and unmanageable. Overall, I feel like an underachiever. And yet that's a bit of imposter syndrome, because you've got successes and yet you're not stepping up to them because you don't feel good enough. If you give up easily, that's the creative brain. We get bored really, really easily. That's not you. That's everybody who's creative. That's where the shiny object syndrome comes in. And, we can't have one project on the go. We need to have 2 or 3 and manage it in a controlled way. I'm the same. I'm exactly the same. I get bored really easily. If I don't have 2 or 3 things I can go to, then I give up and retreat. So you're not on your own. I do it too. Yeah, we all have transferable skills. So I had avoided my creative business because I had a limiting belief that creatives, artists, crafters could not make money. It was a nice hobby, but you needed the proper job. So I had the proper job for 25 years, very successful at it, and earned a lot of money at it. So therefore, it was really difficult for me to get off that treadmill. But the more I wanted to become something else, the more things happened to me to remove me from that treadmill. And I believe that when I had my series of unfortunate events, it was a series of stacked things that I had created myself unwittingly, by choosing the wrong husband, by helping people, being too generous with my money and helping people out too often, and lots of things. And it was when I took responsibility for all of that, when I went to rock bottom, that I was able to rebuild my beliefs in a different way. So sometimes it's about stopping and going, where am I and what do I need to change? Because you can only change you. You've got to be your own best cheerleader. You have to completely love yourself. I remember Bob Proctor I worked with Bob Proctor on one of his courses, and he used to say, I bloody love myself. I'm bloody amazing. I'm this, I'm that. And other people then tell you you're bragging. You are not bragging. You are actually stating the obvious. You are amazing. You are beautiful. You are clever. You are talented. You're a damn creative genius. Yeah. And actually, when you start believing that, it's when you can chip away at your limiting beliefs, start to build your confidence. And that's where I start. When in the creative mastermind, I do not start you with business. You do not go near business until you can deal with it properly. What's the point of getting you doing business strategy, all of that stuff, before you've worked on you? Because the mindset goes through to business. And this is why your limiting beliefs may be having an impact not only on your confidence in your life, but on your business, because you're allowing them into your business. You are giving up, you are walking away, you are saying this is not working, rather than believing that you're just on the road to success. Failure is part of the process. So that's why limiting beliefs hold you back. I'm going to be talking about limiting beliefs kind of all week this week. So most of my posts are going to be focused around limiting beliefs, because I believe it's a core place that we all need to start. When you actually can get rid of them all and believe in yourself and feel confident, it's so freeing. It's amazing. Nobody could knock me down, even if they came at me with a bus, because I believe that I am worthy. I believe I'm competent. I believe I'm a creative genius. I believe I can help anybody to build a business. I don't have any doubts whatsoever. There's never a doubt creeps in, because there's loads of evidence behind me that proves that that's what I can do. And I believe the evidence. I don't believe the hearsay. That's the psychologist in me. So that's what I want for you, is to start believing the evidence to the contrary of the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. So I hope that's helped to make you think a little bit today. And, if you want any more information on that, or you want to book a call with me, check out the Creative Mastermind pages. There's a link through them to click through for me. If you feel like you need some help, I feel like we all do. And if I'm the right person, just book a call. And if not, don't. That's fine. I'm okay with either. And I think that's also a good place to be in business. The right people will come to me when they're ready for my help. And I don't take offense if people are not. Have an awesome week. Hope the rain stops. I hope I don't have a wet dog walk today, although it's looking highly likely. And I will see you all next week, Tuesday, same time, different topic. Goodbye for now.